Success transcends cities. As one of the world's most respected business leaders, I know what it takes. Join me now as I sit down with fellow leaders and we share our insights into how you can be successful. My name is Jeffrey Hayzlett, and this is All Business.
The media landscape is constantly evolving. As new technologies and platforms change how we consume content, you need to adapt, change, or die, or you won't be watching, listening, or reading any of it. I'm excited to be speaking today to a true visionary in the world of television and a master of adaptation and innovation. You may know my next guest as the executive producer and host of one of the original reality television shows, Cheaters, or through his innovations in live camera and docuseries, or maybe from his newest adventure, To the Rescue, where he is on a mission to help others. My guest today is Tommy Habeeb. Tommy is a powerhouse TV personality known for his bold charisma, sharp wit, and unwavering passion for storytelling. Tommy is here today to share his evolution in television and his unique perspective on the ever-evolving television landscape. Tommy, welcome to All Business with Jeffrey Hayzlett. Hey, Tommy, I know that they always say that Mark Burnett is like the creator of the modern day reality show, but I'm going to put my money on you. Didn't you have the very first one?
Well, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. And, you know, it's kind of funny because the TV Guide back in 1999, they said Cheaters and Survivor, who's going to be the first reality show to hit the air? And actually, we beat them. So we actually aired first. It's been an arm wrestling competition. Listen, Mark Burnett's been very, very successful, but I need to knock him down off that high horse for a minute.
Well, he's way up on top, and he's had some real winners, just like you have. So you can't knock him off too much. It'll be a hard fight. But can you tell me a little bit about your journey into the world of television? Because you've been around both on what we call the new streaming stuff, but also on the old broadcast stuff, which is still around and still what we call television today. So how did you first become involved in the world of reality television?
Oh my gosh. I've been on TV for over 4 decades. It's kind of scary because all of a sudden it's aging us a bit. But and we're right now in the middle of an actors strike. And I was at the first actors strike in 1980. I was walking the picket line. So I was over at CBS television. And I was walking the picket lines with Mary Tyler Moore and all my friends from WKRP. Actually, I was a 19-year-old kid. So they kind of took me in under their wings. And I didn't really understand, I was just happy to be there. I was on the lot of working actors. So I was just soaking it all up. And it didn't matter if I was getting paid anything, because at 19, I just wanted to be an actor. So that's when I started out. And really my life changed when Dick Clark saw me doing stand-up. I was actually hosting a show. And Dick Clark changed my life. He came up to me after the show and said, "Hey, kid, I got something for you. Come see me." And he gave me the gift of understanding the business of the entertainment business, right? So he taught me about using celebrity to drive business and launching products. And really that's because of him I've survived all these years. But then many years later, in 1999, I launched Cheaters. I was kind of the architect of that. And that's when reality kind of hit. Although we didn't understand we were doing a thing called reality. I was making a show. I didn't know what it was going to be. And until we finished that first episode, and I went, oh my gosh, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I don't know if anybody's going to want to watch it, but it's pretty shocking.
Well, I got to tell you, before we get to Cheaters, I got to ask you about WKRP. Were you involved at all with that turkey incident, that one episode where they were throwing turkeys out of a helicopter? I hope not, at least.
No, oh boy, that was a classic. I sure wish I had been. I would have been known much bigger than today.
Yeah. The great line was, "Oh, the humanity, as I recall." But, you mentioned you started in 1999, at least with the show Cheaters, and that's what you're best known for. I think now you've got this great new show, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, and that seems to be a real icing on the cake. But but that was known for its controversial content. I'm talking about Cheaters. What inspired you to take this on?
Well, listen, I have an actor's mentality, right? I'm always looking for work and trying to get stuff done. And back then, so most of my friends are athletes. And actually, when Dick Clark gave me the tools, he gave me a TV show, a music show that I hosted. But then after that ended, he taught me about syndicated television and that distribution and using celebrity and how to get sponsors and advertisers. So I was doing a lot of sports stuff because all my friends were athletes. And one of my first calls was to Magic Johnson and Spud Webb and those guys. And I started doing getting the biggest stars in the world from sports and creating television around it. But that was by fluke. I was in Dallas. I went from LA to New York, and on my way back to LA, I stopped in Texas because this is where I'm originally from. And I said, well, let me work on some things. I started creating some shows here. And then that's when Cheaters came about. And, it was really, and I think I'm going down the path of the question you asked me, but you're right. It's been such an institution of mine. And when you give birth to something, it's your baby. So, and everywhere in the world I go, literally everywhere in the world, everybody knows Cheaters. I was hosting the Miss World pageant in Kaliningrad, Russia, with Florence Henderson, right? And we're walking down the street and it's all gray. There's like a hotel that was modernized in a mall, right? Everything else, those were the only two westernized things there. But we're walking down the street and people are running over Cheaters. And they given Florence the camera so she can take a picture. She goes, what the hell here? I'm America's mom. Doesn't anybody care? They're all care about Cheaters. It's pretty crazy. And it's actually a lot of fun.
Did you ever expect it to become such a phenomenon, the cultural phenomenon that it became? And it's really started to change the real scope of reality TV.
Yeah, I never would have imagined in a million years. I remember I knew the importance of press. So I finished the first episode and my friend was, remember back then we didn't have social media. All we had were like National Enquirer, Star Magazine, these kind of rags at the grocery stores. So I sent my buddy that was the editor at Star Magazine in Chicago, I sent him a VHS tape overnight. Well, literally, he got it at 8 a.m. By 9, he's on the phone with me. He's going, I said, listen, can I just get a paragraph? I need a little press to bump this thing up. We're about to roll it out. He goes, I've never seen anything like this. I'm on a plane. I'll be there tomorrow morning. I want to go to a bust. I went, really? I knew it was pretty shocking. And ever since, he gave me 2 pages in Star because it was so crazy. And ever since then, I was on every talk show in the country, throughout magazines. It just went nuts. I never would have imagined it.
Well, you always talk to me about the fact that when you walk into a room, a lot of times people leave the room, men and women, because they think you've got a camera and you might be coming for them. Now, reality television can often blur the line between scripted content and authentic moments, and you've had a lot of those. How do you maintain the balance between entertainment and authenticity in some of these shows?
Well, it's a dance, I got to tell you. And back in 2000, I did so many interviews with people going, what's the future of television? Are we all going to go reality because it's cheaper to make? And, what I predicted, and it's kind of been happening, is that reality, it's going to become a hybrid, right, of scripted and reality. And those lines are blurred, and they are today. There's so many shows that, and in reality and in television, as you guys understand, you have a certain amount of time you got to produce an episode. If you don't, it costs too much money. So there is some producing that has to happen. But in reality, you try to be as authentic as you can. You try not to put too many words in their mouth, but you just lead them down the path that you want them to go to. And it's pretty fascinating. And, it's become an art form. And today I've had multiple meetings with networks, and because of all the streaming and those things, and the networks haven't figured out how to really monetize it and make money, the way they believed, and they spent too much money. Well, they came, I've had multiple meetings, like I said, and they came to me and said, Tommy, we are cutting out 80% of our scripted. We're going to docuseries, which is great for me because that's what we specialize in. Because we can do it cheaper, and you get the same ratings. So you're going to see a big shift happening in that docuseries world, and you already have, anybody that on any platform.
Yeah, but even these shows that we say are scripted, they're not really scripted. I see them as being set up. You set up the situation, right? So that people can be themselves and go through it. Now, in a lot of my shows in the past, say the ones I've done on Bloomberg with my series, The C-Suite with Jeffrey Hayzlett, my producer might ask me to ask the same question 3 different ways, 3 different phrasing, so we can try to get a different reaction from the person, or, make it seem like it's less scripted and more, like real. Do you see more of that going to happen for the future?
There's no question, but Jeff, I didn't think that about you. You're so perfect. Every question that comes out of your mouth is like gold. Nobody's going to put questions in your mouth.
Man, we all mess up. You know that. We all mess up, and we all don't look this good on TV, right?
Come on now. It's funny, but yes. So there are producers. You got story producers, you got your line producers, you got your executive producers, and everybody's throwing their input in. But those story producers are so key because they help keep that line, that through line going, and they will kind of tell you, on all shows, they go, well, let's try that again. You know what I mean? Because we're taped, and why not get the perfect response? So that's where those lines really get blurred between scripted and reality. But I think a lot of America, they don't, they know it, but they get involved. This is the new soap opera, right? We did soaps back in the 80s, but this is the new soaps, the housewives. And, I'm working on several right now we're excited about, and which it's going to be pretty fascinating.
How's the money changed, Tommy? Because, I'm out there looking for money all the time, just like you are for the shows that we do. And for all of our, our C-Suite radio podcast, our TV, advertisers, sponsors, how's the money changed? Is it bigger, less than it used to be? Is it easier? Is it harder?
Yeah, the money's changed. It's gotten so fragmented because of streaming, and it's not like it used to be. I mean, in syndicated television, we made so much money. It was just a different world because you didn't have streaming. And it's kind of like the music business, right? It all just kind of went away with streaming. And so I'm a little nervous. That's what's going to happen with television. We have to work so much harder. And our syndicated dollars, the advertisers, give us maybe 20%, 25% of what we got. We have to go to market very much like you guys, and y'all are doing it right because you have all the platforms. You got to cover broadcast, streaming, social. You have to give that advertiser a complete package just to eke out that little bit of dollar that you used to get, right? It's a lot more work, and then now you throw AI in the mix, and it's just got everything upside down.
Well, now the advertisers are looking for more than just eyeballs and ears. They're looking for hearts and minds. They're looking for conversions. They want reach, they want discovery, and then they want conversions. They want to see it down to the bottom line. And that's changed the game a great deal. And of course, streaming has changed that. Now we're talking about all this AI stuff. Let's talk about that for just a second. How much do you think that's going to change? I actually had somebody approach me that I could start doing my speeches now in AI, and I never even have to do them. I just feed the script in, and it creates this digital avatar, which it looks exactly like me. Now I get what, actors are concerned about.
No, seriously. And I've probably done 100 interviews over the last month on this whole actor strike and AI and my feeling on it. And if the world is going to change, and as a 4-decade-old actor in personality on television, we're limited. I have a 19-year-old son and a 17-year-old son that are great actors. Their career may not happen just because of AI. Now, that's part of the strike. That's what we're doing. We're saying, listen, you have to use actors. But right now, today, there are atmosphere actors, the extras, getting scanned by Disney, and they don't even know what they're getting scanned for. I said, well, why are you getting scanned? Say no. You pay you $180 and it's going to be over. Your career as an atmosphere person is over. And that's, technology is moving so fast, Jeff. And guys that are the first that's going to happen are talking heads, right? The news guys. Why would, the news stations, they're watching those pennies. Why would they pay a guy $500,000 a year when they can create an avatar and just type the news in? They already type it in. He just reads it. You know what I mean? So the next transition is going to be actors. And no matter what contract we do, the rest of the world, the Sonys and everybody's going to move overseas and go, yeah, we don't care about SAG-AFTRA. There's going to be a guy at a desk, and he's going to script out. He's going to say, make me a John Waters cool teen movie, and give me a flavor of Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and Jeffrey Hayzlett. And they're going to create these actors, and Meryl Streep, right, as a young kid. And there you go. And it's going to create the film. And there's no need for actors, producers, directors, makeup artists, truck drivers. All the whole industry is going to change. And people are going, no, it could never change. I promise you, give it 15 years, it's over for us. We're going to fight, and we may get this contract, but it doesn't mean the other actors around the world, these other places, I say actors, bad actors that are going to make films without real actors, they're going to do it. Of course, they're going to do it because they can do it for nothing.
Tommy, you've been talking on the national news a little bit about fractional credits, I think, around AI. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I came up with an idea. I mean, it's not new. Why can't we do this with AI? So the thought is, just like blockchain, the guys that write the code for AI, and if our legislators would force them to do this, why couldn't, when that guy that writes the key says, listen, let's make me this film, it goes out and gets the nuances from from Ernest Hemingway, right? And it goes and gets a nuance or something from Al Pacino. It should put down markers, just like blockchain. And why can't it come back, and when it finishes this document or the film, it gives everybody fractional credits? It's just like us as babies, right? We're born with nothing in our brains. We're just learning. And when we win the Super Bowl, what does the guy do? Holds up the trophy and goes, I want to thank mom. I want to thank dad. I want to thank my coach. I want to thank God. He's rattling off everybody that gave him influence in his life. Well, AI is the same thing. It goes out there and gets this influence. Why can't it give us credit when it takes the words from your mouth or takes nuances from Jeffrey Hazlett's, spoken words? And when it produces something, it should give those fractional credits. And that's the way to monetize it. And it doesn't seem like that's a hard thing to do if it's just coded when they create that AI program. So anyway, I've been writing about it, and that's what I've been talking about.
Well, for one thing, it's going to be different. It's a changing landscape. I was talking and reflecting to a lot of people on one of our Scotch Sunday events that we host every single week. And I just said, this has been like the music industry. You're going to see the creators lose control of a lot of things, but gain control is in some ways, but it's just leveling the landscape and going to change it dramatically. And for those of us who are making a living at it, you better get ready, change, adapt, or die, right? That's the way it's going to be for this business.
Seriously, I hate to say.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. And, whenever there's volatility, there's also opportunities too. So you got to be looking for that. Even in crises, like an economic crisis, there's businesses that do very well, some that do very poor, but there's always a changing landscape. So your current venture is To the Rescue, and it seems like a significant transition from shows like Cheaters, obviously. So what prompted this shift, and can you tell us what drew you to the project?
Of course. And, I've always loved animals and pets, and I've always had dogs. I didn't understand the importance of it, but until later in my life, as an actor on television, I get a lot of great requests. And I remember my publicist called me and said, Tommy, the SPCA would like you to go to Florida because you're an actor and you can bring cameras and a couple other celebrities and do a big rescue because they had a big hurricane. And so, which was an amazing moment. And then they said, listen, would you be interested in hosting our telethon with Betty White? And I went, are you kidding me? Of course.
Wow.
And so Betty really changed everything. And I learned so much about rescue. And we had long talks, and she really taught me the importance of animals in our lives. And so many years later, I went to dinner, and a friend of mine's wife was a rescuer, and she's telling me these stories. I said, okay, it's time. I use my platform of millions of people around the country and the world to help these animals. It would be so important. And my first call was to Betty, and I said, Betty, I'm developing a show called To the Rescue. We're going to go rescue dogs. And she was so excited. And this was around 2016, 17, somewhere in there. And she goes, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I can't really travel much. But I said, it doesn't matter. We're filming. You got to see this. So the most important thing for me is that she knew I was doing the show, because after a year and a half, when we finally got the show fully distributed and ready to go, and I reached out to Betty and I didn't get an answer. And her assistant called and said, Tommy, she can't, she's sick right now. And so everything changed. But that was the reason I got it and started, and I always had a love for it. I just didn't realize, Jeff, how it would change my life. When I got deep into it and going to these rescues and meeting all these amazing people around the world, and the good they do for animals, and then how animals change our lives personally, it just affected me and everybody in it. If you rescue or you foster or you even just your family pet, right? Just watching how, it changed. They bring so much light to our lives. I'm in deep, and it's the best work out of 45 years I've ever done.
Do you have a favorite pet yourself?
Well, listen, I love my dogs, no question. But I love all these animals. And World Elephant Day reached out, and they want to partner and do it To the Rescue for the elephants. There's nothing more I'd rather do. And we're planning all these To the Rescue specials and shows about horses and the things that are happening out there with horses. And we love our cats. We do huge transports of kitty cats and dogs. And although To the Rescue that's on every week is primarily dogs, but we do help our cats. And Jeff, from the business side, what's really fascinating that I found is that America. So it's hard to get advertisers and sponsors. We're always
totally
working, correct?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I start this show, and these ad agencies are calling me, going, "Listen, Tommy, Our clients used to want to rip the throats out of their competition. Now they're going, we want to hug them. We want to be part of we want a better humanity." And that's the best feeling in the world, is making something that people go, you're doing good, and you're helping change, give people the insights and change humanity. Let's all, I hate to be cliche, but as John Lennon from the Beatles, he says it so well, let's give peace a chance. Let's love. It was all about, loving our neighbor. And so I feel so warm and fuzzy doing this show. And I hear that from our big sponsors as well.
Yeah, but it's also a multi-billion-dollar industry, especially on the dog side, really on all the pet. In fact, now, we tend to refer to our pets as our children. You see a lot of that, a lot of the streaming videos you see, oh, come to mommy, come to daddy. And it's like, that's a little different for me, because I'm a little bit more of a ranch kind of guy, farm kind of guy, outdoor guy, and not something I normally would say to a dog, but it's certainly my best friend. Let me ask you about TV a little bit more as we wrap up here over the next couple of minutes. Okay. With the rise of streaming platforms and digital content, how do you see what you're doing in television adapting to those changing preferences of viewers? I mean, because now everybody's consuming it on the most important device there is in the history of the world, and that's been our phone, and we're watching that. How do you think this impacts storytelling and the types of stories being told on television?
So, if we have to embrace the future, right? And embrace this moment in time. And if we don't, we're going to be left behind. So I think it's good. I think it's allowing us to, although the money's different and it's fragmented, but from an artist standpoint, I'm going, this is so great because I can touch individuals and I can create little bits of content, right? I can create a 3-minute bit about whatever story I want to tell. And I love golf, right? So I create golf content and I create my animal content, and it doesn't have to just be pigeonholed, locked down to a half-hour show on broadcast. It's giving us so much more to work with. And from the business side too, I mean, I've created verticals off of To the Rescue. We're launching our To the Rescue pet insurance company in the next 90 days. We're doing a whole product line, and we're all mission based. So, you know, you buy a collar, you help save a dog, right? And being able to go down to the individual level and identify those people that really want to watch, you know, these certain content, we can give it to them. We can give it to them in bite size or longer, you know, pieces of content, which is so great.
Which is awesome. And I think a great way to be able to create things. But can we agree on one thing? Can we please tell people to stop creating content in your car? I just can't stand those videos. Those are the videos that I don't like. I don't know about you, Tommy, but you know, you got a camera, you can do so much more with it. You can make great content like Tommy Habeeb. Go do that. That's my advice to everybody that's watching and listening. Tommy, it's been a pleasure having you. Good luck. I don't think you need it because of all the success that you've done, but you've been a very good friend of mine over the years. And I love watching what you do every day. Just be safe. If you go and do another Cheaters, I just want you to be safe. And if you go save those elephants, just stay out of the way.
Oh, I love the elephants and my animals, and I love all our Cheaters fans out there. And I got something special happening here pretty soon, kind of Cheaters-esque.
Okay, well, we'll get you back on All Business with Jeff Hayzlett for that. It's been a great pleasure having you on today. Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay.
Hey, at the end of every show, I like to talk about what I learned. And today from Tommy Habeeb was a lot of different things in regards to television and digital television streaming and the ever-changing landscape that we see in broadcast and media. But the biggest thing for me today was fractional credits, the ability to be able to be remunerated or at least receive some kind of recognition for the things that we create as thought leaders or as creators. In the ever-changing digital platform, it's important for us to
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bestseller TV. I'm Taryn Winter-Brill. We're here with Jo Hausman. She's the author of Go For It, A Woman's Guide to Perseverance. It's wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you, Taryn. It's great to be here.
So first off, I love the title, all in caps, exclamation point, go for it. There's a lot of gusto. So it just gets you into the mood and into the groove, and you're excited to get into it. The first thing I noticed, though, you say a woman's guide to perseverance. This could have just been a guide to perseverance. I was curious, why put the word woman in there?
Well, when I decided to do the book, I was talking to my publisher, and he said, you know, this is about your story. Because when I was first going to do it, it was about my late husband and all the struggles we had to go through with his terminal illness and with him being a veteran. As I told him more about what I went through in my life, he goes, I think you really need to write a story about that. And you really need to gear it toward women.
So is the audience for this book predominantly women?
It's predominantly women, but I will tell you the first few people that read it were men, and they loved it.
And they could relate.
They can relate,
right,
yes.
Because
yes.
I think perseverance is all-encompassing.
Oh, it is.
So we all experience it. And as I got into the book, I was thinking to myself, would I describe this as a business book with a personal twist or more of a personal memoir with a business twist? And I said, let me ask Jo and see what she says.
Well, you know, I would say it's probably the personal memoir with the business twist because it's both. It's personal and how I went through my life and also started my businesses. So yeah, I would do personal memoir with the business twist.
Okay, so tell everybody a little bit about your background, because this book is written from such a personal standpoint, which was a very difficult process, I would imagine.
It was probably one of the hardest things, I've ever done. I had written journals, but I lost my dad when I was 11. And I thought I had healed from all that, and I thought life would went on and everything else. And after my husband died, I had somebody say, I think you really just need to start writing things down more and just really start describing your life, because then I became a single mom when I was in my early 20s. And I was a single mom for years until I met my wonderful late husband. And then we married, and I thought life was good, we're going to go on, and life was good. Well, unfortunately, then he passed away in 2010.
So sorry.
And thank you. And then I was like, well, now what do I do? And the same thing, what happened is my son graduated in May. Well, then he had major surgery in June. My husband died in July, and then Cody went off to college in August.
Right.
So then I'm working at home. I have my own business. It's going great. And then all of a sudden I find myself alone, and I'm like, well, now what do I do? What? Where's the next steps? And so it's really talking about finding yourself and finding your inner energy to go on with life. I was already upset at knowing I was going to be an empty nester, and then to know that now I didn't have my husband also to go on with that journey. So it really is that's the book, and then how I have accomplished things since his passing. What we wanted to accomplish together, I've been able to do by myself.
And what made you want to put it on paper?
That's a tough question, because I journaled for so long, and people said, you really have a story here. You have something that people need to read. So I just started journaling. I really did. And then I was introduced to this publisher, and it felt right. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. And here's the book.
All right, here it is. So I'd like to get into some of the nuggets of perseverance you can share with us without giving it all away. But there were a couple things that were just really powerful as I got through the book, Joe. The first is your son Cody writes the foreword, and it's just it's emotional, it's powerful, it's raw.
It is.
I was curious, did you ask him to do that? Did he offer it? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I had asked him. I actually had him started writing some of the chapters in the book with me, but a lot of that, he was so young when all that was going on that he really wasn't able to give a good insight into it. So we decided to have him write the foreword, and then he just bammed it out. He was wonderful.
Yeah.
And that just worked.
It does.
Because I was like, I don't really want to write the foreword. I wasn't sure, so I said, and he just, he blew it out of the ballpark.
What was your reaction when you read it?
I was in tears.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
because
I can
it's always
imagine.
different getting a kid's perspective.
Sure.
And he's a young man now, but I mean, at that point, he was a kid, and it's just getting their perspective on life.
Right.
And just how his mind viewed it.
Right, seeing it through his eyes. One of the things that struck me as I read it is he said, the one thing about my mom is that through it all, through all of the clouds, through the storm, she never lost control. And that was sort of the secret sauce. What do you attribute that to?
People ask me that all the time, and it's just really my own inner core, and I guess I've had it since I was little. One of the chapters, like chapter 2, is my mom always told me I could do it my own self, as I used to say that when I was like 2. Well, doesn't every kid, But,
do it my own self.
Yeah, I do it my own self, and
Right.
she said, you just kept saying it over and over again. And honestly, he probably didn't see me scream and cry as much as I did, because I would go out and I would do it, I'd go drive around and I would just get
Right.
mad, and then I'd come back, compose myself, and go on with life.
So is that something that you feel you can teach? Is that one of the nuggets of perseverance, keeping control, maintaining control?
Yeah,
Is it
and
something that has to
different-
be inherent, or you can learn it?
You can learn it. It's different ways that you can channel your emotions and channel how you're going to react to different things.
Okay.
And one thing my late husband was really good about, he taught me positivity, because he had grown up in a alcoholic childhood, his mom was, and he woke up every day and said, today's going to be a positive day. Today's going to be a positive, awesome day. I'm like, what?
Right.
Are you kidding me? And he goes, no, really, and every day. So I learned that from him. Even though I was always happy-go-lucky, but I really learned that from him, and I still say that to this day.
Gotcha. So tell us, just to take a step back, tell us a little bit about your professional background. Was it the adversity that sort of triggered your interest in entrepreneurship? Tell everybody a little bit about your path.
When my son was little and I was a single mom, and I worked for a company. They let me work from home. And it was a trial process, and I loved it because I wanted to be able to be at home with him. But being single at the time, I couldn't afford to do that. Not a lot of companies were doing that. It was just very much trial basis. So from there, I'm like, you know what, I could do this. I could start my own work at home thing, you know. But I really needed more tenacity to do it. And when I met my husband, then I thought, I can do this, you know. So we worked as a team to do it together. And then even when I started one of my home businesses that lasted 10 years, that's what I was doing when he passed. It was really about having that support, but also about that tenacity to go out and make it happen, because I knew I had to make income. I mean, that was just, you know, we had figured out how much income I had to make. And I still kept my full-time job while I worked my business part-time at night.
Wow.
And then I was able, after 9 months, go full-time with it.
So looking back, as you were writing this, I always like to know, Joe, what do you know now that you wish you knew then? You know, if you could go back to your younger self, everything you've been through.
You know, I would probably say just keep going, don't give up. When I became a single mom, I just knew that I had to keep going for my son. You know, that was just it. And now that he's grown, I thought, okay, now what do I do? And he's grown. And now I had to keep going for myself, because you just have to find that inner peace. And sometimes as women, we always want to try to help everybody else, but in reality, we need to help ourselves. And we need to find that inner core within ourselves to keep going.
So let's kind of get into it, your definition of perseverance. What are some of the things and the guidelines that you want women and men to take away if they're facing adversity and they're having a tough time the way you are?
You know, really, I would just wake up every day and just say, you know what, I'm going to make it through today. And sometimes I would say make it through the day. If you can't make it through the day, you make an hour a day or make a minute at a time. And then you just celebrate the small victories. I remember one time I just had to try to get through a half hour or whatever, and I went and cleaned my bathroom, for goodness sakes. And I was so excited about it. A friend of mine had called me and I said, I just cleaned my bathroom, and I was all excited. But that was really how I had to get through the really, really hard times. Just keep myself busy and trying to keep positive about things. And really, it's just whatever is going to make them happy.
Okay.
You know, because if you do things and if you're around people that are negative, you're going to be negative. You know, I always tried to stay around people that were more positive, that would try to lift me up instead of always bringing me down. I'd go have coffee with people just to get out of my house and just to have that time with them.
Did you have any relationships you had to break because maybe they were more like family and you realized this is not healthy for me?
There was people that after my husband died kind of walked away. And I thought, wow, they're not true friends. And then you also grieve that as well. You're grieving the loss, plus also you're grieving the loss of friendship. And that was really hard for me, because I thought that person, or those people actually, would be there for me. But the nice thing is, then you start surrounding yourself with people who you know are going to be good for you. And once you remove the negative, the positive will come into your life.
Right. I imagine that's a difficult thing, just because you've lost your personal relationships in different capacities, your husband, your friends, and you're sort of starting over. You talk in the book of something called My Why, which I like the sound of that. So tell everybody, what is my why and what's your why?
Well, my why is I really want to be able to help people who are going through the same experience I did. And really, again, the book was really supposed to be focused around, losing my husband and with his terminal illness. But in all reality, I go out and I speak about perseverance, and I really speak to people that you really have to go out there and, again, remove yourself from the negative. But people love drama. I don't like drama. I walk away from drama, and I will do whatever I have to walk away.
I always say, save the drama for your mama.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good saying.
That's my motto.
And it drives me crazy. So if I notice right away they're going to be drama, I walk away from them.
That's great. Yeah.
And then people go, well, why aren't you with them? I said, there's drama, and I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah. I feel like drama's more, we're in the minority. I feel like you said, most people I don't know why it is. It's just.
I don't either, but it drives me crazy.
Yeah, it makes them feel better about themselves.
Exactly.
I guess.
And I think if you're putting other people down, it's really a negative reflection on you.
Right.
And it's really a negative reflection on what you don't like about yourself.
You talked, Joe, about communication and vulnerability. So what was your advice in that capacity?
The publisher said, you have to put this out on social media. I said, there's no way.
Right.
I do not want anybody knowing I wrote this book, and they're like, well, you have to. This is how we do this, And so I paced my floor for 2 hours because I didn't share, a lot of the stuff that happened in there. I mean, my close personal friends knew and my family knew, but not everybody knew. And so that was really hard for me, but yet it was the best healing I'd ever had.
Right.
Knowing I'd written it and then it got it out there, and it's an inner peace that now that I can go out and share that, because so many people have come up to me afterwards and have talked to me about their personal experiences and how they're thanking me for writing the book, because now that's how they've went through life, you know.
What's that like for you, hearing other people's experiences?
I wouldn't say it's rewarding, but I'm glad they feel comfortable, come and talk to me, because I want to be able to help them.
Right.
And I want to be able to get them through the hard times. And most people don't come to me for counseling. They come to me for maybe just a little bit of guidance, maybe little tidbits of information. And I always tell everybody, you're stronger than what you give yourself credit for. So you can do this and you can move forward through it.
What do you say to someone who's just saying, Joe, I'm just not as strong as you? You know,
They say that a lot.
You know, how do you combat it? What do you say?
And then I just tell them, I said, what makes you feel happy? What makes you feel good about yourself? Then do that. If it's your kids, if it's your family, if it's your friends, if it's bowling, whatever it is.
All that said, Joe, what have you learned from this process, from writing the book, maybe from others that have shared their story with you?
You know, writing the book has really opened up my life in a totally different direction I never thought possible. My life has taken a 360-degree turn since I wrote the book a year and a half ago, and it's really been a blessing. And it's been a blessing for me to be able to go out and give support to others, but also I've been able to go start other ventures, and I've really been able to go help people in other ways. My world has just opened up so much from writing a book.
It's incredible. It's such a powerful story. And I said from the get-go, it's so personal. So, you know, you really feel it deep down. So bravo, because it's not an easy.
Right. It was hard. Yeah, it was hard to do. And my son was the only one who knew I was writing it. So thankfully I didn't have a lot of people going, when's it going to be done, you know? So thank
no
goodness.
pressure.
But
that's good advice, I think. If you are going to write a book, don't tell anyone.
Don't tell
because
anybody.
You don't need people checking in every second.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
It's
I'm sure it's coming from a nice place, but sometimes you just want to check out and say, you know,
yep.
And I do my thing.
And I'm, you know, doing some other things too, and I'm like, I just don't tell anybody.
Right.
I just keep it quiet until it's done.
That's great. Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
It's really well done.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. And if you'd like more information on the book, just go to our website. It's c-suitebookclub.com. That's c-suitebookclub.com. I'm Taryn Winterbrill. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time right here on Bestseller TV.
Welcome to C-Suite TV Insights. I'm Greg Greenberg. In order to get fit, and that means physically or financially, sometimes you got to put up a fight. Here to talk about the fitness business is Bedros Keuilian, CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp. Welcome, Bedros.
Thank you for having me, Greg. Appreciate it.
Well, it's great to have you here. And how'd you get started at Fit Body Bootcamp?
You know, pre-2008 housing market crash, I was a one-on-one personal trainer where I was able to charge clients $600 to $900 a month to work with me one-on-one. Of course, when the economy crashed, not a lot of people could afford that $600 to $900 a month. So my idea was to take that outdoor workout program, the boot camps, and bring it indoors and make it a legitimate business model where we can make the cost of personal training more affordable and make the entire program more convenient.
Well, there's tens of thousands of gyms and workout programs out there. How did you make your brand unique?
That's a great question. So what differentiates Fit Body Bootcamp is the way we coach people instead of training people. Rather than just working with a trainer in a gym and then figuring out what to do the rest of the 23 hours of the day, we actually focus on helping people with their mindset, with their emotional eating, with teaching them on nutritional programming, what to eat, when to eat, and how it actually works in your body to either build muscle or burn fat. And we train them in our Fit Body Bootcamp locations worldwide.
Can you talk a little bit more about how you challenge your clients? Because this is not the type of program where you simply show up and the pounds fall off, right?
Absolutely not. It is not an easy program where you just show up and the pounds fall off. But what we do is called high intensity interval training. And our only mission is to do one thing better than anybody else, and that is to burn fat as quickly as possible. And so when clients come for 30-minute workouts 3 times a week, we put them through a 4-station rotation where our coaches run the programs and deliver the results. And I always tell people you can do anything for 30 minutes. So give it your all and you'll get the results.
Fitness coach versus personal trainer. Can you expand a little bit more on the difference?
Sure. A personal trainer is, look, I used to be a personal trainer and I know where every muscle inserts and originates on your body, and I can count to 10 and I can do the reps and I can point you to the workouts. But a coach is someone, when you think about a coach, like at the Olympic level, when an athlete gets injured, the coach comes running out and hugs that athlete and takes them off the field. And coach is someone that athlete will confide in. Coach is someone that does higher level coaching by way of nutrition, mindset, has the trust to be able to work with their emotional eating, as well as put them through the workout programs.
So talk a little bit more about how you include nutrition into the program, because eating is almost as important as working out, right?
Absolutely. We always say you can't out-train a bad diet. And in fact, your diet, your nutrition is about 70 to 80% of the fat loss results that you're going to get. So we really focused on, rather than changing people's diets overnight, how most people will typically do and then bounce back and yo-yo back, we'll just take one bad item out. Like, let's say we'll take soda pop out and replace it with water for a month. And every month we take one bad thing out and replace it with one good thing, and therefore giving you permanent results.
And what equipment do your clients require? Because now more people are working out at home. And do you sell the equipment as well?
Good question. We don't sell any equipment, but if they're working out at any of our 400 Fit Body Bootcamp locations worldwide, the equipment is provided. And if they're working out at home doing our Fit Body Bootcamp online follow-along workouts, they don't need any equipment. They just use their body weights and they get amazing results.
And if one of your clients loves the experience so much, they can even buy a franchise, right? Can you talk about how that process works?
Absolutely. We're always looking for more franchisees so we can grow the Fit Body Bootcamp brand worldwide. And if someone's got a passion for fitness, a desire to help people, and of course they're entrepreneurial minded, then they can just go to fitbodybootcamp.com and learn more about franchising opportunities.
All right. Thanks a lot for coming on and talking about it. And thank you for watching C-Suite TV Insights. I'm Greg Greenberg.